we've had just last month alone 4,500 new user accounts created. So people went through the entire and it's fully engaged user accounts, and that's just in 1 month. So that was more than double of the previous month. And then so far in October, we've already exceeded September numbers. So this is taken off like on an exponential curve, and that's what AI does because it just grows so fast. So with me today is my co-pilot, the wonderful Angel Lynn Elliott. And
Hello, everybody.
And no, Angel AI was not named after Angel.
It's just a
Okay.
happy coincidence.
Yeah, that's right.
I am partial to the name.
Yeah. So the presentation today is why are you doing the lender's work, right? And let's talk a little bit of history. So let's go to the next slide, Angel. All right. So for those of you old enough, and I hope most of you are not as really old like me, but those of you old enough to remember the pre-2008 the subprime days, you remember how easy it was back then, right? Back then, with stated income and no doc loans, you literally just took a 1003 and you dropped it into the lender's engine, and next thing you know, you got paid your commission, right? So and then the credit crisis happened. We went back to 100% full doc, and not only did we go to 100% full doc, but we got tons and tons of more regulations thrown onto us, right? And then the CD and TRID came out and all this kind of stuff, and it just became really, really hard. Okay, and what happened was that the industry responded by pushing all of that down to you, down to the originator and the broker. So your costs went through the roof. Okay, and so how do we solve this crisis? Well, the solution is AI. Okay, so right now you're spending more than 40 hours, man hours, just to complete, just to do the follow-up, right? And not to mention all the other time you spend on, preparing, reviewing documents for underwriting and things like that. So all of that time that you're spending right now can be saved so that you can focus on getting more business in the door. All right. Good. Next slide.
All right. Yes. So lots of tasks, as Pavan was saying, that now are really falling onto all of you. We are going to highlight specific ones here on this call.
So basically, this is a list of all the things that you are required to do. When you don't use Angel AI, you as a mortgage broker are basically doing everything, and including balancing the CD with the title company. I mean, imagine that, right? It's a lender's money that's going out, but you have to balance the CD. I mean, if you stop and think about it, just take a moment and think about it. Say like, why? It's the lender's money. It's the lender's responsibility if the CD is wrong, right? Lender has to be certifies that the CD is compliant to TRID, yet they push it on to you. So take a minute and absorb this list for a second, and then ask yourself, why am I actually doing all these things? Right? So, all right, let's go next.
Yeah, and to take it a step further, why are you doing it and what is it costing you, right?
Yes. So if you stop and actually count the man hours, or in this case, if you're using third-party processing, it's at least $1,300 a loan file. That's pretty much the average that we see, the median on third-party processing costs. I think some places I've seen as little as $800, and I've also seen it as high as $1,600. Right. The time you spent, just the man hours you spent initial and final CD balancing, and also the time you spent reviewing documents, right? Reviewing documents as you get from the borrower and you submit to lender, because most lenders will penalize you. They'll drop your scorecard if the underwriter has to touch it more than once. That's a huge problem. So what happens is that the pressure, it puts so much stress on you and your processors to review everything, double, triple check it. Basically, their lenders are making you be the underwriter. Okay, and if you don't basically underwrite the file for them, so that their underwriters don't have to do any work and can quickly sign off on the file, okay, then your scorecard drops and you get bad pricing and so forth. So it's like it's a cumulative effect. So you have to, so you have to spend more money up front. And if you make a mistake, then you get charged for those mistakes. All right. And so what happens with a lot of mortgage brokers is you spend so much time training your loan processors to be underwriters. When really your loan processor should be actually helping the originator originate loans and helping the originator manage the relationship with the brokers, with his real estate brokers and his borrowers. All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So the next.
And I mean, beyond those, dollar amount costs, the opportunity costs that's listed there, what could you be doing with all that time and your assistant be doing that's lead generating? How much business are you missing out on by doing all of this as well? So let's get into some of the problems. So this first one, it's the VOE, ordering the VOE and just like the time and man hours that goes into it. And that's just to have one done. But as many of us know, it's not always that simple. And sometimes you have multiple employers or you need multiple VOEs. So all of that time, it just adds up, right?
Yeah. So you have to chase employers back and forth just to get a VOE sometimes. And then the employer says use work number. Then you got to go spend money on work number, and all that stuff, right? And then if something doesn't add up, sometimes work number doesn't report the overtime properly. They just lump it together. Then what do you do, right? So you have your systems, and you have to track your follow-ups, and then if you miss a follow-up, right, then it could throw the whole loan off, right? So the multitasking skills that are required of your staff are extraordinary. Right? It's not really something you should be asking a human being to do. It's above and beyond what we're designed to do, right? We as social animals, right? We're designed to build relationships, not to robotically follow up on stuff, right? So whereas the solution, right, and is you just simply tell Angel AI process my loan. Okay. And she'll literally do all the follow-ups, all the chasing and everything because it's an AI and she will not stop. And she won't miss it. She won't never ever stop. All right. Go ahead, Angel.
It looks like we have one question that came in the Q&A. So the question is, you have a system to generate accurate initial loan estimates, or do you use smart fees, something like that?
The answer is it's integrated into Angel AI. She will generate the fees for you. You don't need smart fees. You don't need to pay for that. She's got basically information on every title company, every county, everything's already built in to it. So you don't even have to worry about it. When you just say process my loan, she will do the disclosures. The initial disclosures are prepared, and the whole loan is set up within under an hour. It's super easy. And we'll go at the end of this presentation, we'll go in and actually show you how that works. Okay, go ahead, Angel, next.
All right, so next example, one that I'm sure many of you are painfully familiar with, the flood cert, which is easy enough, right? Just order a flood cert, but there is often an exception, and then suddenly it is not as easy as just ordering the flood cert. So you're following up with flood insurance, other third parties, trying to figure out where these discrepancies are, and you just waste way more time than you would ever like to do by spending time on those back and forths. So as Pavan was saying, the solution, literally all you're doing in Angel AI, once you get that loan in, we'll show you what that looks like too, but you just say process my loan. And we're not saying you say this every single time. All you do once you provide that loan to her is say process my loan. All of these things are taken care of, regardless of how much follow-up there is, back and forth. Angel AI handles all of that. So Angel AI is not that social being. She is perfectly created for the robotic back and forth, double checks, all of that good stuff.
Okay, good stuff. All right, remember, it all boils down to simply process my loan.
Process my loan. And keep those questions coming in the chat and we will answer them as we go as well. Let's look at another one, HOAs. So much fun to get an HOA to fill out a questionnaire, right? And not only once you get that questionnaire back after all of those follow-ups that it sometimes takes, but then you need information. You have follow-up questions about how they filled out that questionnaire, or you need supporting documentation. You need to know, when was the last inspection done? Okay, it was done in June of this year. Well, thank you for telling me that, but we also need the inspection report. We need the documentation to prove it. So once again, you're stuck with the back and forth, following up, trying to pry the information and supporting documentation from the HOA's fingertips. Or when you submitted the loan, you could just say, process my loan and be done with it.
Right. And a lot of you probably thinking, well, how's that possible? How does an AI do that? Right. One of the reasons it's possible is because we've done over 200,000 transactions through the system already. And it's basically already talked to just about every HOA in the country. Okay. So it's already learned how to engage with them, it's already learned how to follow up, and you'd be surprised, like if you've worked with every HOA and and the system has learned like how to frame an email, how to frame a message to them, it gets it done. Right. And that's what the machine learning is. That's why it's so cool and so interesting.
And then another thing about the HOA questionnaires that some of you may have experienced, some of you, this may come as a shock, but it is very real. Many lenders are getting repurchase notices when these things come back and it wasn't done correctly. And, going back to how we started out this webinar, many brokers are doing the lender's work. If you are the one, even though you're the broker, if you're the one that did this, that repurchase is going to come back on you, right, Pavan?
Yeah, I actually, it's interesting. Just yesterday, I had a call with the broker who got 2 repurchases from loans from a couple of years ago, and the scratch and dent bid is now like 75 or 70 something, right? So he's going to lose 30 points, 20 points on this thing, right? And it was why? Because when you read the broker agreement, it basically, because it was a document he collected, so the repurchase got pushed back to him. So we're talking about almost $1 million+ of repurchases, 2 loans. And he was literally on the phone crying with me, asking me for advice and help how he can deal with those lenders.
Yeah, that's scary. So it's not just, your time and money when it comes to the origination, but you can be on the hook for things like that, which feels like a great time to bring up Angel AI's warranty. So Pavan, do you want to talk about what that means when originators are using Angel AI for tasks like this?
Yes. So there's 2 things. One thing is that it's complete peace of mind. So at any point when Angel AI says something, and she gives answers in seconds to minutes, and she says something, she reviews a document and says, yeah, this document is good, I've signed off on it, right? You don't have to think about it again. And even if she gets it wrong, and she never does, but if she got it wrong, I will perceive the loan, and the scratching dent problem is mine, not yours. So that is huge. So that means, Angel AI went and got the HOA and signed off on HOA, and once that condition signed off, it's signed off. There's no undoing that. Okay. Or that means you put in, pay stubs and VOEs and stuff, and Angel AI calculated the overtime income. Then and that's the final. You don't have to worry about it changing again, unless of course the borrower loses his job or something. Then those things that's the carve out, is changes in the borrower's circumstance. Jen, you wanted to add to this?
Yes, I really wanted to touch on the couple of things that Angel and Pavan have talked about earlier about BOEs and HOAs and flood certs and things like that, right? I personally want to talk about my own experience where, I mean, if you are an originator within SunWest, you will know that SunWest can also broker loans to other lenders. And we are approved to do loans with a big lender, right? That is just an avenue that we make available, for an extreme scenario. And I
Well,
personally,
I'm going to interrupt you for a minute there. So basically, the SunWest model, I'm switching over from Angel AI to SunWest. SunWest model is that our originators can do either way. You can broker,
yes,
you can bank, you complete freedom. I mean, 99.9% of the loans get banked because it's so easy with Angel AI, right? So and then for our brokers, right? The same reason we give you Angel AI for free is because we want you to try and experience it. And as you get into it, you're going to find that the easiest path will be just let it go through SunWest. And also being a SunWest partner, you also get part of our lead generation program as well, which would be a future webinar that we'll be talking about.
yes. So the reason I wanted to bring this up is because I, as a borrower, worked with another lender using SunWest as a broker. And here, my originator and me as a borrower had to do all the work. We did all the HOA docs. We had to collect all the documents. We uploaded the documents. We inputted the data, everything into the system manually for them. And once I submitted, for them to correct one item in the disclosure that was not correct took literally 36 hours. And I'm not making this stuff up. And this is one of the biggest lenders in the country. And this is when I said, you know what, oh my God. I mean, if it is taking me 36 hours to just clear one simple data error in the loan, how easy it is to just go to Angel AI and say, you know what, fix this. And she will do it in seconds, not hours and days, seconds, right? So it is a testament. And I know coming from me, you're probably talking for Angel AI. I am honestly speaking as a consumer who's applying for a loan, right? It was painstaking. I couldn't get anybody on the phone. I couldn't talk to anyone. I have to request again and again and again to get this thing simple change done. So that is just a consumer speaking.
And we did have a question regarding the HOA. How many contacts are made to the HOAs by Angel AI? Phone calls, emails, is there another way? So remember, all you're doing once you provide that loan giver that context of what the loan is saying, process my loan. And then Pavan, Jennifer, how many contacts are made?
Go ahead, Jen.
Contacts depends on the HOA, right? Many a times it is more than half a dozen times, right? The HOA number one, you have to stay on their back to first to fill in the questionnaire. Two, once they fill in the questionnaire, if there are some follow-up item on the questionnaire, then you have to follow up with them on these items. And then they have to answer you satisfactorily on those questions, right? So on an average, it is anywhere between 6 to 10 times that you have to touch with the HOA on these. And the beauty of that is Angel AI has the ability to make these requests because of the training that she has gone through over the decades of processing these loans. She has been able to come up with all possible scenarios. She has the ability to review these documents, look at everything that the HOA has answered, and has come up with all possible questions that could come up based on whether the HOA has answered yes or no. For example, like, has there been a recent inspection that has been completed, right? And if the HOA answers yes, then she knows what to do when the HOA answers yes on those questions. If they say no, she knows what to do to and skip it. So every question that is there in the questionnaire form that you all are familiar with, that you get from Fannie Freddie website, is trained in Angel AI. So she knows exactly what to ask for, when to ask for, how to ask for all those questions. So it is all communicated via emails. In a very, very, very rare scenario, there might be a call that might have to be made, but that is very, very rare. In my experience, in the last 6 months, I may have to call the HOA maybe once or twice at the max, not more than that. And we do a lot of loans with HOAs in it. So that is
I think the key to this is speed, and then why this works is and the reason that is like, let's say the HOA just completed the HOA cert and send it back. At that point, that person in the HOA is looking at it at that moment. It's fresh on their mind. So because when it comes back, it goes immediately through the AI, and the AI, almost instantly comes back with what's wrong, what's incomplete. Okay, so then it immediately responds to the HOA. And so the person who completed who completed the cert, right? So the person who completed the cert is already focused on it, so they're able to address it on the spot. Okay, normally when an HOA comes back, then it sits in a queue, and then some expert has to review it and find the problems, finds what's incomplete, and then it could take a day or two to go back to the HOA administrator, right? And so that 1-2 day delay, and now that administrator is off to something else. And so that's why this system works so effectively in getting documents, getting things completed from third parties, because as they send stuff in, it's reviewed on the spot, and corrections are requested on the spot.
So how many contacts will Angel AI make? As many as it takes, right?
That's
All
correct.
right, let's look at another one. Change of circumstance. So here's another y'all are probably painfully aware of. Anytime there's a borrower change of circumstance, so an inspection's added to an appraisal, you have to add that fee, the loan amount changes, anything like that. You all are responsible for monitoring that and manually requesting that the lender sends out that COC. Not with Angel AI, right? Angel AI is doing all of that monitoring for you, and as soon as something triggers a change of circumstance in Angel AI, she's taking care of it. So again, all you've done way back when you submitted that file is say process my loan one time.
So literally, let me ask the question this way. So what does if I'm a broker, what do I have to do at COC?
With Angel AI, nothing. You don't have to worry about the situation at all.
Do I even think about a COC?
Nope.
All right. Okay. So on the loan that you did, you had basically a problem in the disclosure. It was a COC issue, and you were brokering it to a third party, right? To another
Yes.
lender.
Yes.
Okay. So why did that COC happen?
So the situation was this. I'm a co-signer on the loan, and I have another borrower who's going to occupy the property. So they did not have a way where I can make myself as a co-signer, and yet another person who doesn't have any income, but I'm the only person who's going to have the income. The other person is just going to occupy the property and will be on title. So they didn't have a way for me to set that up in their system. So when I call them to tell them that, I say, oh, you just put it the way as if you're occupying the property. We'll correct the disclosures and send it to you. That was the exact instructions that were given to me. So I couldn't sign a disclosure where it says I'm the owner occupied. So I had to wait for them to correct it. They said they corrected and send the disclosures, and I go back in, and it was still saying I was occupying the property. I had to go back and tell them, hey, it still says it's occupied. Literally, fourth attempt, they got it right. And then I was able to sign my disclosure. So they did not even touch that loan for a minimum of 4 days because number one, their system did not have the ability for me to enter that I'm a co-signer with another borrower who has no income, will be the owner-occupied person. Two, it took 3 attempts for them to correct the disclosures the way it is supposed to be set up. It's very simple. It's just declarations where are you occupying the property? Answer is no. That was just that question that had to be answered for me as a co-signer. It took 4 attempts.
Yeah. So that's the other problem, is that most LOSs out there, they're not able to handle the edge cases. So the situation you just talked about is an edge case, and there's a lot, and this industry, what makes it hard is all the edge cases, right? And they're not able to handle the edge cases is because, bottom line, they're not AI, right? And so that means that process, you went through that challenge on that loan for that customer, right? And that system didn't learn the thing, right? So so that edge case will remain open indefinitely, and if that lender reports it to whoever their LOS vendor is, it becomes a change request, and they're going to get a bill from the LOS vendor.
Oh, yes.
And that's why those things remain open. Whereas in AI, when Angel AI gets an edge case that it's never seen before, it just learns it. It generates new cells, new neural network cells, and off it goes. It's amazing. I mean, and the latest version of our neural net technology, where these cells are being generated automatically, and it's not yet in production because we're still looking at putting the guardrails on this thing. But it's like I see it in the lab and I watch it. It's just mind blowing. It's like watching a billion years of evolution happen in seconds in front of your eyes, and you see these cells grow and expand automatically. It's like science fiction stuff. But anyways, I'm gonna geek out. Let's go back to the mortgage. Let's go back to the mortgage world.
Well, though that's the beauty of it. The worlds are colliding. They have collided. So we keep saying all you have to do is say process your loan, process my loan, but we want to be really literal here, right? So if you do just go to Angel AI and say process my loan, she's AI, she's not psychic yet. I don't know if maybe that's coming down the line. So you do have to give her a little bit of information. You have to give her some context, but we're not exaggerating in how easy it is. Like, this is a literal screenshot that an originator sent me. That little paperclip icon down at the bottom, click on that, allows you to browse for your file, attach it. She says it's imported, she created the loan, and then you say process my loan. How many seconds is it going to take you to do those things? Attach the file, say process my loan. Boom.
Right. So just to clarify, Angel, as a broker, most of the audience here is mortgage brokers. So if they're watching this, so they're using their LOS point or something, right? So they would go in. So if you wanted to go and have Angel do all of this for you, you'd go into your LOS, export the MISMO file, and import it here, and then say process my loan.
Yep,
correct?
that is it.
Okay. And what about the documents? You hit the paperclip icon and upload because as an originator, you would have, tax returns, whatever. And same thing.
Yep, same thing. And the beauty of it is you don't have to do any of the organizing. So, sometimes the borrower is gonna, if you're really lucky, send you everything you need, but maybe it's in one file, or, some pages are upside down, or just they're all disorganized, what have you. You just drop in what you have. Angel AI is going to OCR scan all the documents, separate them out if needed, label them, put them into the file. She analyzes the documents for you as well, like we were talking about a little earlier. So when she does review a document and says, yep, this is good, remember everything Angel AI says is warranted. And
Yeah,
I know we had some.
But that means if Angel AI signs off on a document, right, it's signed off for good. Unless of course the bar is hit by a bus before closing or buys a new car or something like that. Those circumstances you still have to educate. The mistake loan officers make is they forget that they still have to educate their borrowers. They still have to understand what home ownership is all about. They still have to understand what being responsible with your mortgage payments and credit education, financial education, that's still important. And that's the reason, you're a loan originator. Is to help people get into homes and be financially responsible and give them that education. And that's something that the AI cannot do. Building that human connection and the relationship and encouraging them to live a responsible financial life, right? That's where you come in.
And that's something, we talk to people about all the time. That's like one of the biggest concerns or fears with AI is it going to take my job? And no, there's these aspects of your job that AI will not be able to do. Form those relationships, and like Pavan's saying, educate your clients, but people who are using AI will take the business from people who are not, because just look at this screenshot. It took a few seconds to provide the loan file, say process my loan, and done. And now I can be spending all of those additional hours on prospecting and building relationships and, having conversations with referral partners, with clients, whereas someone who's not using it is still working on that same file and on hold with the HOA company. All right, so that kind of brings us to the bottom line here, working with other lenders or working with Angel AI on your files. What the bottom line difference is, because other lenders, they're judging you on your ability to submit the perfect file. They want you to essentially underwrite it yourself, so that their underwriters can get through it quick and easy before you even submit it. When you're submitting through Angel AI doesn't care. If it's wrong, if it needs fixing, Angel AI can tell you. And what she's worried about is how quick can you respond and get that information. So it doesn't need to be complete, sending conditions one at a time. Angel AI handles it as you go. So again, you can really focus your time and energy on getting more loans, on building your client base, on making more money.
And I get this a lot. A lot of people say like, well, how do I know it works? It sounds too good to be true. Questions like that. Okay, so and the answer is simple. That's why it's an open platform. It's freely accessible to everybody. Even if you're not signed up with SunWest, even if you don't plan on ever submitting a loan to us, I don't care. Just use the system. I actually have had so many times underwriters from other companies come and tell me off the record that they use it all the time to do calculations for them or to check the guidelines, right, or whatever. So it's okay, right? I just want you to use the system, because when you use the system, you'll come to love Angel, right? And then you'll come to love the human Angel, and then you'll come to love me. Right. So literally right now you can go into Angel AI and you can give her tax returns, you can give her an HOA cert or HOA reply or anything complicated and say, hey, can you review this and let me know? Right. And she'll do it for you. And you don't even have to be signed up with SunWest. You just go to Angel, create an account and just give her documents and she'll review it and she'll give you the answers back.
And here is a live example. In the time, this is one of the top brokers in the country that tried it out. It was after 9 o'clock, and here in the time it would typically take to open a file, Angel AI uploaded the purchase contract, uploaded and calculated income. I know we had a question in the Q&A box about calculating income, so we are going to get to all of those. Run AUS findings, lock the rate, emailed the initial disclosures, the borrower signed in AI sign the disclosures, facilitated the payment process for the appraisal, got all the documents together for review in order to have a successfully fully underwritten file by the next morning. So this is all in less time than it would take a very experienced originator to just create the file.
Yeah, exactly. And somebody just asked a question: if we broker a loan to SunWest, is Angel AI also the underwriter? No further review of the file. And the answer is yes. Not only is Angel AI also the underwriter, but when I put my money where Angel AI's mouth is. There's no underwriter in the industry. There's no lender in the industry that would put their money where the underwriter's mouth is. So I challenge you to find a lender that would say, whatever my underwriter says, she tells you something on the phone, that's it, it's final, right? But with Angel AI, whatever Angel AI says is final. And if she got it wrong, I will fund the loan. I'll scratch and dent the loan. And so that's our 100% trusted warranty. And so, that's why it's so fast. You drop any documents, she signs it off, you just move on.
So let's get to a few more questions in the Q&A. You got that underwriter one. What happens with edge cases when the AI can't calculate the income correctly? Does it get sent to a human underwriter to calculate? So if it does need clarification, it's like less than 3% of the loans, it will go to a human underwriter. And that's why we always, when we're explaining Angel AI, you always think artificial intelligence, but we describe Angel AI as augmented intelligence. And that's where we're able to, have that confidence that you will always get the answers you need. You'll always get the assistance you need on your files, because even with all of those 200,000 plus loan files in the training data, sometimes there are exceptions that Angel AI needs human assistance. So she's never gonna say, sorry, I don't know that one. Good luck. She will still 24 hours a day loop in a human being, get the information that you are looking for, and it still comes with that warranty.
Yes, and that's really important. And the key here is that the man and machine work together. So there's a famous saying out there is don't worry about AI, worry about your competitor that's using AI. So AI is not going to take your job, but the competitor who is using AI will take your job. Okay, so it just the productivity and the effectiveness and the accuracy of our underwriters go through the roof because of the AI, and because less than 3% of the loans actually need a human to double check it. And if you've been following us for the last couple of years, we've been talking about this percentage for a while. 2 years ago it was like 40%. Right, so we systematically have been reducing it down, and that's just as it's getting smarter and smarter. And as our confidence in her increases, we reduce the percentage of loans or percentage of situations that need a human underwriter to take a look at. So it'll never go to zero, but it'll get, the last 3% is going to be the hardest. And it can never go to zero. It could just, maybe the next step will be like, 2.8% or something.
Right, we had another question in the chat. Can Angel AI change a loan from FHA to another agency loan type, from non-DPA to DPA? And Jennifer said, of course, she can do that in seconds. We actually have an example here I can show you of it doing just that. So, you guys remember, when you are using Angel AI, you don't have to know some secret special coded way of asking her to do things for you. Literally the same way you ask a question in the chat here, you can ask Angel AI, hey, can you do this for me? And she will.
Right. And Juan asked a question, does SunWest refinance the data that we collect? And the answer is no, especially if you're a broker with us, we send the leads right back to you. And we also have a program where if you can sign up for, where that you let us originate it, and you're going to get paid on the deal, and you literally have to do nothing other than sign the 1003. So it's like, and then the borrower gets like amazing internet rate pricing as well. So we have brokers and originators who are making $10,000-$20,000, individual originators, $10,000-$20,000 a month extra income, and all they're doing is docu-signing or angel signing the 1003s. It's that simple. So definitely an amazing service we have, and that's all goes back into the whole lead generation and lead sharing process that we have. Okay. And so remember, I generate so many leads that I don't need to take your leads. You have what it's your book of business. You have maybe 1,000, 2,000, whatever clients you've done in the last few years, right? I mean, I generate thousands an hour, right? So I don't need to go there. All right, let's go to the next one.
Can Angel AI shop for the best price PMI? Can you lock or extend your rate through Angel AI? Yes, you can shop for the best price PMI. Yes, you can lock and extend through Angel AI. But one thing I want to highlight here that is really cool is you can actually lock 24/7 in Angel AI. Right, Pavan?
Yes, you lock 24/7, weekends and everything. All right, so we have a very sophisticated hedging model. We have a custom predictive AI on the rates market, and it's phenomenal. And because of that, we're able to pass those savings on to you so that you can lock anytime you want.
Thanks. And we did get a
Angel,
request.
just one addition to that. You can also lock and shop. You can also lock on your TBDs. So many times, many of them forget that. You could always lock on your TBDs for 120 days. So that's one thing you can also do with Angel AI.
Thanks for adding that. And we did get a request in the chat here for more information on the lead generation systems regarding, you know, what you were just talking about, Pavan signing the 1003.
Right.
How can they get more info?
Yeah. So Gerald, we could call you back after the webinar, and we plan on having a future webinar just specifically on lead gen and how we share leads with our brokers.
Yes, so stay tuned. Is the lock and shop solely a SunWest product?
Well, I think other lenders do have lock and shop, but I think the way SunWest does it is unique because our TBDs are full approvals. So when you do a TBD with SunWest and you ask us for a credit approval, right? We will give you, that's one and done underwriting. Angel A underwrite at that spot at that time, and you're done. So you could literally make an offer with no loan contingency. So your FHA borrower with a 550 credit score can compete directly head on head with a cash buyer. So it just changes the whole game. Just definitely think about that.
All right. Does Angel AI search for best effort pricing, i.e. YSP?
I'm not sure what that question means, but the Angel AI has pricing for SunWest built into it. So that's the price that she will show you. And regarding, you know, if you just want to use Angel AI as an engine for underwriting and, you know, helping you with income calculations and so forth, you're welcome to do that. And you can, you know, it does, anytime it gives you an answer, it does them exactly to agency guidelines. Right, agency FHA VA guidelines, not one more, not one less. Okay, so so you can literally use Angel AI's underwriting, and if you want to submit it to another lender, you can, as long as that lender also sticks to agency guidelines.
And if they decide they don't agree, you still have that warranty, right?
Exactly. Right. And remember that warranty, you still have the warranty, meaning that if you submit the loan to SunWest, we will honor everything Angel AI said to you.
So if for whatever reason that other lender doesn't agree, what have you, you're not having to scramble, go back to your client, say, well, someone changed their mind. You just give it to SunWest and we honor that warranty regardless what the issue with that answer was.
Yeah.
Do you foresee any capacity restrictions on the volume of files in Angel AI grows, and how big can you get? I love this question.
Well, you know, our capacity is restricted by the number of servers Amazon has on their cloud. Right? We don't have, if you go into our office, there's very few people there. And our army is the racks and racks of servers in Amazon cloud. So the bottom line is no. I mean, you could literally drop 1,000 loans in like right now and it all get done at the same speed.
Yeah, and that's another great point to highlight about, you know, using AI in the way that we do versus the old-fashioned way, because we aren't, you know, at the mercy of the ups and downs of volume, sharp increases, sharp decreases. All of the turn times in Angel AI are the same, regardless of what the volume level is.
Right. And also we've also started a quantum computing project, and we should have model ready at the next 3 months. So it's going to get even faster. So we're literally training a quantum computer right now to we're literally training our models using a quantum computer right now. So way ahead of the game. So what takes normal GPUs, you know, days to crunch through, a quantum computer does in like a few seconds. So what capacity limitations?
All right, let's see another question. Someone who is approved with SunWest as a non-Dell correspondent, does AI price out yield spread or pay the my LO margin off the back end?
If you want to use Angel AI pricing engine to show what you want to see your LOs, yes, she can do that and pay whatever you want to make on the loan at the back. She can be trained to do that. You just need to work with our head of capital markets and let him know what your margin is. And then that will be trained in Angel AI, and your LOs can go in and price on Angel AI. So they won't see what your margin is, they will see what the consumer pricing is going to be.
Yeah.
So
So,
it's
so bottom line, if they want custom pricing for their LOs, you as a correspondent margins embedded in there, you talk to David, who runs our cap markets, and tell him what you want, and he'll set it up for you.
that is correct. And keep in mind, she can also take care of if you have branches, if you have branch override pricing, all of that can be easily programmed into her. So no need to keep track of any of this manually. So as a non-Dell correspondent, it is very, very, very easy and simple and incredible.
All right. Jen, I think the next question is for you. Does
Yes, you answered
does
that
Angela
question.
understand home ready, home possible,
Yes,
50% of
she
these events?
understands all of that, and even the LLPA waivers, depending on the AMI, is all programmed into Angel AI. So the pricing that she gives you takes into consideration all of that information as soon as you put that zip code in. So yes, all of that is trained in Angel AI.
So you put in the zip code and it automatically knows which whether the customer is eligible and to what percentage levels.
That is correct. So you just need to put the zip code and the borrower's income, and she will automatically put all that information, and she'll tell you if the LLPA waiver is applicable or not. All of that information is already programmed into Angel AI.
Yeah, this next question is really a question. What does an AI do? Do I still need a human processor? So let me put it this way. One of our big producers, the way she does it is her processor is now her LOA. Okay, so now before in the old days, she used to, work late nights preparing the loan files and making sure they got approvals and everything. And so she had very little time for her teenage kids. Now what she does is she spends her working, normal 8 hours, and how many LOs can actually work just normal 8 hours? But now she just works her normal 8 hours, and she spends her time on those 8 hours with her realtors and her customers and building relationships. Okay, and she's like a doctor that meets the client and gets them prepared for what's going to happen, and then hands it over to her processor. Okay, and now the processor is able to do a massive amount of volume because she's originating, several loans a day. And so that processor basically then works with the borrower to make sure that the rest of the information comes in. And that processor uses Angel AI all day long and just pushes stuff into Angel and let Angel close it. So that what it relieves from your processor is your processor no longer has to spend the time keeping track of follow-up lists, making sure that their follow-up dates are updated and all that kind of stuff. The processor also no longer has to spend their time on reviewing the documents as they come in and stacking them correctly and preparing it to be sent to the lender. Now her LOA simply spends the time making sure that the customer understands what they need to give, receives it, drops it into Angel, and off to the next one. Doesn't even bother looking at the documents.
That's a life changer. That's not a game changer. That's a life changer.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I
that-
know, Andrew, you said people were saying Angel AI is a life hack, and it really is, but it's not a secret life hack anymore.
No,
So,
no.
Okay. Is there another slide, Angel?
yeah, so we can show in action, just keep the questions coming in, because if we don't get to them live, remember, we will send out the answers. So don't worry if we don't get to yours live, you will get an answer. But I'm just going to show a couple, these are real life examples here of the stuff we've been talking about. So here, this originator just attached let's see, year-end pay stub, said calculate the income for me, and bam, it's broken down by the income type. And also she let them know when that a LOE would be needed for a certain income there. And then continuing from this, so in this example, they started out just by dropping in income docs, asking for the income calculation. And then from there, they decided, okay, actually, I want to submit this loan here. So to Pavan's point earlier, you don't have to be sending the loan to Sunwest to use Angel AI for things like an income calculation. Just save yourself the time. But then this person continued on and said, okay, I'm going to submit this loan. So here are the parameters. And then boom, Angel AI gave them the loan number.
Yeah, and everyone always asks, what's the catch, right? Why would it do all this and I don't have to send a loan? Well, the catch is that you don't get the warranty unless you send the loan to SunWest, right? And then also the catch is that by the time you do all this, hopefully you don't want to send a loan to us, because
Work's all done.
no other lender is going to be able to do it as quickly and as simply for you.
Yeah.
Is it really worth the headache of sending it to another lender at that point?
Here's another example, clearing conditions. So he sent
Angel, I'm
the
going to interrupt you for a second because I think this question should be answered live before we
Sure.
show the example. I have a new LO to the industry. Does AI have any type of training on docs guidelines, etc., to assist the LO in the file or restructure of the file? I wanted to make sure that we answer that question live because that's exactly what Angel AI is all about, right? Pavan, you want to?
Yeah, I mean, literally, new LOs love it because as they're working with the client, okay, they're talking to Angel at the same time and getting answers on the spot. So they're empowered. Like new LOs don't have to. The biggest challenge new LOs have is being scared of not having the answer when a client asks them, puts the situation to them. So now it's like it's like having an underwriter right next to you all the time, and you get answers all the time, 24/7. So you're never fumbling around in front of a customer. And because everything Angel AI says is warranted, the new LO has a lot of confidence. Like they can give the answer and they know that it will stick.
One of the banes of hiring new people as a manager, as an owner, is having to answer every stinking question that they'll have. Well, now they have a tool. Now they have a tool to ask any question as trivial as you might think it is. Just ask Angel AI.
And Angel AI, on top of that, will find, excuse me, the least resistive path and the best product suited for that particular borrower's needs. Okay, depending on how much money do they have, what is their credit score, and what are the income documents they have. She will be able to analyze what is the best product suited for this particular borrower and recommend that. And if there are ways to restructure the file, she's going to tell, you know what, if you can do this, you can get this product, you can lower your rate. She will be able to find all possible avenues and give the most least resistive path, which is basically minimal documents needed to close this loan, right? So that's what Angel AI can do for you.
And I know we are right at the top of the hour, so I'm just going to jump to this last slide because it answers one of the questions last asked in the chat. Basically, how can we find out more information of different levels of using Angel AI, partnering with SunWest? So, well, the answer is to just reach out anytime, but you can on-demand schedule a live training with one of our Angel AI specialists. Basically anytime during regular business hours because they're humans, not AI, but just go to angelai.com/workshop and indicate what time date's best for you and you can get all the information you need.
Because we're a real tech company. That means you're the center of attention. What's the difference between a tech company and a traditional lender? Is everything's about you. We don't tell you when, you tell us when, and we show up.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being here. We hope actually you guys have an amazing day, and hopefully you're finishing up October strong.
Cheers. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.